Yes. Yes. So my first question is, what inspired you to be a chef?
So I've actually grown up with my nanny staying with us because my mom worked and she was like an obsessive cook, okay? My mother would warn her that when I'm out, don't try any stunts. But no, the moment my mother was out, there she was in the kitchen, climbing up, pulling things down, and making. I mean, we only had homemade stuff as kids, whether it is the snacks or whatever. So it was like packaged food hardly ever came into the house then. And so I come from a mixed background again. My mother is from the south, my dad is from Bombay. So there was a lot of South Indian influence in our food and everything. My job, he'd do the other work, and. So, and luckily I had that kind of freedom where I could experiment. Nobody really said, "Oh, what have you done?" I do anything that I felt like, add anything that I wanted, and it was fine, and they'd appreciate it. So that was really fun. So I guess there was never that stress about, oh my God, you know.
So you were more into experimenting.
Always, so it was good fun. I didn't mind it. But of course, I have to admit, baking and all that is not something I learned until I got married. My husband was into baking. I mean, he loved to bake. And I think it was a hidden dream of his which was still there. So then he got me. And my kids went to a school where one of the rules was for birthdays, you don't send sweets, but you send a homemade eggless cake.
Wow.
That's how I started baking actually. So then I used to keep looking for recipes and experiment and then hit upon a good one, and then I continued with that. And then there were a lot of working parents. So they weren't able to obviously sit and do the home thing. And then I also experimented and started doing with whole wheat. I avoided the maida bit. So then I was doing whole wheat and eggless cakes. So then the school asked me to take orders for other parents who were not able to do it. So then it was just, that's how it began. I always thought my path was somewhere else, but I reached somewhere else. But okay, it's not like I've forgotten that. I'm now kind of blending both. So it's okay.
You're experimenting with your life as you do it with food. That's really cool. I mean, it seems like, in retrospect, I think if you look back at it, it seems like as if you're just, carving your way out of it. Like, you're just like, I will do apne hisab se, and things are leading you to it.
Yeah, because I think for me, I'm pretty okay. I'm not rigid or, I've never had tunnel vision. I kind of go with the flow. I take each day as it comes. So then it becomes easier to adjust and to accommodate new ideas.
So they say like how baking is like a thinker's paradise. You get to think a lot while you're baking. So does that happen with you? Or are you just like, I enjoy the process in a different manner?
No, with baking and all, I'm very this about being focused on what I'm doing because it's all about the measurements. So you have to you make sure you're not, making any mistakes there. So not with baking. Yeah, if I was painting, I would be, but not with the baking. Baking, I'm very, pretty there.
Okay. So would you say that it was your nanny who influenced you or got you into the whole cooking side of it?
Both actually, nanny and mom, both of them. My mother at 85 is more enthusiastic than I am about the kitchen. Yeah, I'm telling you, I said she also loves to experiment, which is where I also, I think, have, maybe I'm not as experimental as her.
So would you say the secret to your recipe would be experimentation and being meticulous?
Especially when you're doing things like when you're baking or whether it is chocolate, there's a lot of fine tuning required. So when you are arriving at a recipe also, there are any number of trials because there's so much of adjusting and tweaking of ingredients till you feel that, okay, now this is it. So we've just recently come up with something we've come up with a chocolate with ginger flavor. So,
What? How does that work?
it works. It really works, and it's quite popular actually.
I think cooking is something which is, very interesting in that terms that you can experiment and derive something so unique out of it.
Yes, actually. Because when it works, it's such a wonderful feeling when you come out with something new and something different. And it's like, wow, you've managed to achieve what you were thinking of. The measures of everything is great. No, but I have to say it's not something that I do alone. Uh, we It's like me, my husband, and both the boys are like very much into figuring out whether this is working or not. Because the boys are more into the flavor bit, they're not into the work bit. That's where my
So I can already imagine, I think at your house, it must be like, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is the family meeting about. This is going to be the tasting committee. This is going to be the working committee. So I want to know, how has your experience been with Tazzho? Like,
it's been really nice. In a sense, I have a little bit of a I was a little hesitant about coming onto a platform where you know it can expand, and I was wondering how can I manage, but they have been really there's a lot of hand holding, which really helps because I'm very challenged technically. So it's like I'm not technology and me are not great friends. So it really helps. And they've at every point where there is a query, they've always had answers, and they've really been there, and they're very approachable. Whenever you need to ask anything, they're there.
okay, let's have some fun thodi there. We'll play something called the rapid fire round. So basic rules, I'll ask you questions and whatever comes to your mind first, that is what you're going to answer. Okay? Okay, so let's start off easy. Just say, what are the 3 tools that you cannot live in your kitchen without?
My blender, uh, the exhaust fan, and if this is Bombay, you do need that. My measuring cups and spoons.
Or what is the first word that comes to your mind when I say this? Okay? So let's say brownie,
Comfort food.
dry fruits.
Interesting, great addition. Oh, well, it's not one word, but yeah,
It's okay, it's okay. Mint fusion,
I love it.
tangerine,
Very interesting.
and Tazzho.
Friendly.
So, what are the 3 ingredients you can't live without in your kitchen?
Whole wheat flour. Um, Dry fruits. Spices.
If you had to choose between brownie or banana walnut bread, which one would it be?
Banana. Banana.
Would you rather prefer having a chaat or chocolate?
Honestly, chaat.
So,
Which is a good thing, otherwise I'd not be able to build stock.
would you rather stick to a recipe or would you rather experiment a lot?
I'd love to experiment.
Okay. And what is your favorite dish on your menu?
The wicked walnut.
And if you have any tip for a new budding chef?
To be able to enjoy what you're doing, because that is the main ingredient, I think, for success. If you enjoy what you're doing, you will carry on doing it for a very long time, and the focus will remain.
Oh, that is a great advice. So that was the end of my random long questions.